Hello, I'm Captain Jack and welcome to the Hangar Bay. On this channel, we take a deep dive into the best starships, technology, and more from your favourite sci-fi universes. Today, we're talking about the Jupiter-class Battlestar, represented by the BS-75 Galactica in the reimagined series of Battlestar Galactica. The ship has become one of science fiction's most iconic designs. But what goes on behind the armour plating? What makes the Jupiter-class tick? Today we give you a full breakdown of the technical information, story of the ship, and the behind the scenes design. Remember to hit that subscribe button for the latest videos. Let us know what you think of this Battlestar in the comments below. And, while you watch, what would you call your Battlestar? Comment your answer. At 1,438.6 meters long, 536.8 meters wide, and 183.3 meters high, the Battlestar design was regarded as a space-going leviathan. The design of the Jupiter-class Battlestar can be broken down into two sections, the main hull and the twin flight pods for small craft deployment. Crew complement-wise, at least 5,000 crew members were stationed aboard Jupiter-class Battlestars when the first Cylon War occurred. Following the end of the Cylon War, the crew complement per Battlestar was drastically reduced. At the time of the fall of the 12 colonies, new Battlestar designs such as the Valkyrie class and the Mercury class have around 2,500 to 3,000 crew members. The main hull comprised the bulk of the Battlestar design. We can divide this into three sections. The fourth section was known as the Alligator Head. This contained much of the living and crew areas. Locations such as the CIC, War Room, Observation Deck, and the Pilot's Rec Room were located here. Sick Bay was also within the section, along with other facilities and numerous airlocks for access in and out of the Battlestar. Within the fore section, the Battlestar also stored her main water tanks and water transfer hatches. The midsection of the Jupiter class housed the main flight decks and the flight pod retraction systems. There was also a service area for transferring fighters, like Vipers, from flight pod to flight pod. This section also housed the primary gun batteries, missile launch tubes, support systems, and corresponding ammunition stores. Finally, the stern section of the Battlestar would contain the engine room. Here, access to the engine pods and FTL drives were located. Some facilities allowed engineering and other access to maintain the Battlestar propulsion system. The most critical feature of the Battlestar was the flight pods. These were designed to launch Viper fighters and Raptors and then retrieve these small craft. Additionally, other small transports, such as Colonial 1, were able to land and dock within the flight pods. In a unique design, the flight pods of the Jupiter class are designed to retract into the ship's main body. This was primarily done for FTO operations and support ship transfers. While the Battlestar conducts normal operations and engages in combat missions, the flight pods are extended out to provide a safe landing and support area for the Battlestar Combat Air Patrol. Airlocks are also located within the flight pods, allowing docking to other Battlestars or space stations to transfer personnel or equipment. Each flight pod of a Jupiter class is comprised of two main decks for flight operations. The upper deck is the landing bay. This extends the full length of a flight pod. The lower launch bays provide around 40 launch tubes per pod, so the Jupiter class has around 80 launch tubes at its disposal. The hangar deck is located under the landing bay. This is where fighter maintenance is situated. The hangar deck can be used for refueling, repair, rearming, and launch operations. It also runs the length of the flight pod. Vipers typically make their landing approach from the stern of the Battlestar. In typical operating situations, a fighter would make a slow turn into the landing bay and commence a landing on a designated landing pad. The Jupiter class allows for combat landings in emergencies, such as combat engagements. In this event, a Viper fighter lands at high speed and uses its landing skids to stop. 6 main rear-facing sublight engines propelled a Jupiter-class Battlestar. These were mounted on the outer hull. 2 were located on the dorsal side, while the others were also on the ventral surface. The Battlestar design also had small maneuvering thrusters that were also scattered throughout the ship to allow for quicker maneuvers in combat scenarios. 2 FTL drives were installed, which allowed the Battlestar to access faster than light travel. These FTL engines were housed within the rear section of the Battlestar and could be accessed by personnel for maintenance and repairs. At the time of construction, the FTL engines of the Jupiter class were considered state-of-the-art by colonial forces. However, they did lack in comparison to Cylon-designed FTL engines. Still, a Jupiter class's FTL is rather accurate. It can place a Battlestar within a dense fleet or into the freefall of a planetary atmosphere. It should be worth noting, a Battlestar class is not designed for atmospheric operation, but the FTL can jump within atmosphere. Designed for war, the Jupiter class was heavily armed during the first Cylon War. In the original design configuration, anywhere between 24 to 50 anti-ship gun turrets were mounted, 2 apiece on the hull. These are found on the dorsal and ventral surfaces of the main hull, as well as on the ventral surface of the bow. Two guns on each turret fire in tandem for maximum effect. These anti-ship turrets are somewhat effective against Cylon base stars. While designed for anti-ship, the firearms can use both flak ammunition and high explosive anti-capital ship shells. Each turret can engage in barrage strategies and salvo fire. 514-point defense turrets, again mounted 2 apiece, are located on the flight pods and other surfaces of the Battlestar. These are armed with explosive rounds in bursts to provide flak field defense for the Battlestar. Located in the dorsal main hull are 12 launch tubes, which can carry multiple nuclear warheads. The Jupiter-class also considered Vipers and Raptors as part of her arsenal. While initially using Mark II Vipers, the Mark VII Vipers remain compatible with the Jupiter-class launch and recovery facilities. Due to the outbreak of the Cylon War, the Jupiter-class Battlestar was deliberately designed to avoid the use of networked computer systems. As such, the Battlestar's primary computer was not networked to prevent hacking. The Cylons were adept at infiltrating and subverting colonial computer systems. Designed to operate for long periods without a resupply, the Jupiter-class was designed with endurance in mind. As such, the Battlestar has onboard water purification capabilities. Without emergencies, the Battlestar can operate for several years before having to replenish her water supplies. The Jupiter-class also appears to have ammunition assembly capabilities within her armory. The ships potentially have a small fabrication facility on board as well. The Jupiter-class Battlestar is shown to be able to operate even when sustaining a massive amount of damage. This is evidenced by the Battlestar Galactica's continuing effectiveness at defending her civilian fleet years after the fall of the 12 colonies. Even after a deadly atmospheric FTL jump and then being in a heavily damaging space battle, the Galactica has proved the Jupiter-class design was built to last. One of the biggest differences with the Jupiter-class is how we find the ship when she was commissioned and when we find Galactica at the decommissioning. Notable differences is the Galactica has most of the hull plating armour removed, exposing what is commonly referred to as the ribbing in the armour design. Additionally, the Galactica in her prime sported more gun turrets, hence the armament could be anywhere from 24 main guns to 50. The Jupiter-class Battlestar was one of the first designs of the colonial fleet. It was designed and created in the very early days of the First Cylon War, shortly after the Articles of Colonization, which would unite the 12 colonies. As such, 12 Jupiter-class Battlestars were ordered to be built, with one being provided to each colony. The lead ships included the Battlestar Galactica, Columbia, Athena, and Archeron. While the design initially proved to be a valuable asset during the First Cylon War, the Jupiter-class did not fare so well. By the time the war ended, only the Galactica, Athena, and another unnamed ship survived, according to records. However, despite this, and likely fearing another attack, the colonial fleet would commission new Jupiter-class Battlestars, likely to replace the ones that were lost. By the time of the fall of the 12 colonies, which was almost 40 years following the First War, several Jupiter-class Battlestars were still in service to the colonial fleet, but had been upgraded with newer technology. They were slowly being phased out in favour of the newer and more advanced Mercury-class and Valkyrie-class Battlestars.
To Galactica, best ship in the fleet. To Galactica.
The Battlestar Galactica was perhaps the most famous Battlestar, and it represented the Jupiter-class line of ships. As such, the Jupiter-class was sometimes referred to as a Galactica-type Battlestar. The ship remained in service from its introduction during the First Cylon War until after the fall of the 12 colonies. While other Jupiter classes would receive new upgrades following the end of the First War, Galactica remained in her original configuration by its official decommissioning. Her active career was drawing to a close. As such, the colonial fleet chose not to scrap Galactica, but rather turn her into a living museum to the original Cylon War. This conversion was overseen by her final commander, William Adama. The starboard flight pod had already been converted into a pressurized museum. With the return of the Cylons and the fall of the 12 colonies, Commander William Adama, a veteran of the First Cylon War, brought Galactica back up to combat conditions and used her Mark II Vipers. In the opening engagements, the ship survived a direct hit by a nuclear missile and later commences an FTL jump to Ragnar Anchorage to replenish her empty ammunition stores. The Battlestar would later lead a ragtag fleet of civilian ships away from the 12 colonies to escape the Cylons. In this, Galactica became both a protector and provider for her civilian convoy. For example, due to its water purification facilities, the Battlestar provides the civilian fleet with most of its water. Galactica's first offensive against the Cylons was a success, successfully securing a Tilium fuel mining and processing plant in the process. With the arrival of the Mercury-class Battlestar Pegasus, a much advanced design, 6 months into the exile of her fleet, Galactica is eventually resupplied with military assets. We've done a full breakdown of a Mercury-class Battlestar here on the Hangar Bay. Check out that video for more Battlestar information. Admiral Kane of the Pegasus would take command of a fleet and oversee Galactica during her reign. The two Battlestars would work together to destroy Cylon fleet, which contained a support ship known as the Resurrection Ship. Following Kane's death, President Laura Roslin promoted William Adama to the rank of Admiral, therefore restoring Adama's fleet command. With the founding of a new Caprica colony, the Galactica and Pegasus were assigned to the planet's orbital defense. In the 1 year the ships were stationed here, most crew had transferred off the vessels to live on the planet's surface. This proved to be a mistake. The Cylons returned, and both Battlestars had to jump away from an overwhelming force. Under Admiral Adama, Galactica returned during the Battle of New Caprica and commenced rescue operations. This was done by jumping the aging Jupiter-class into the atmosphere of New Caprica. The Battlestar plummets to the planet's surface from an altitude of 100,000 feet. Adama launches all of the Vipers, and then Galactica jumps back into orbit. During the space battle, Galactica is overtaxed, outgunned, and faces destruction. Thankfully, the Battlestar Pegasus arrives to save the day. Pegasus was initially ordered to remain behind and protect the civilian fleet. Pegasus' arrival was instrumental in the survival of Galactica, as it allowed the Battlestar to get the FTL drive back online and escape with the civilians from the surface in New Caprica. Pegasus was unlucky on the other hand. The ship did not launch any Vipers, leaving him behind to protect the civilian fleet. The Mercury class is ultimately destroyed when ramming a Cylon base star, following the crew abandoning the ship. This leaves Galactica the sole surviving colonial Battlestar, protecting humanity. Galactica bears the scars of the Battle of New Caprica for her continued service. With the loss of Pegasus, Galactica's bolstered crew along with her air wing. The damage is so extensive, the executive officer, Colonel Sol Tai, suggests it would take 6 weeks in dry dock to get the dents out of a ship. It does indicate that actual repairs, if possible, would likely take months, and a battle such as New Caprica would not be possible again. Galactica would survive multiple other engagements during her lifespan of protecting humanity. Once again, she takes up the mantle of protector and escorts the civilian fleet in a quest for a new home. The ship is almost lost to a band of mutineers after discovering a ruined planet called Earth. At this time, multiple tears in the FTL engine room chambers are discovered. It shows that Galactica has sustained critical damage, and the Battlestar's structural integrity is faltering. The decision is eventually made to abandon ship, with the discovery of Galactica is dying from old age. Even silent repair solutions only prolong the inevitable. Galactica's final mission is one of rescue. Admiral Adama leads a volunteer crew on Galactica to rescue the child known as Hera from a Cylon colony. This is Galactica's last battle, as the Battlestar sustains critical damage but ultimately wins the day. During the Battle of the Colony, Galactica rams the colony mothership and allows the Marine strike teams to board the Cylon ship. This cripples the bow section of the Battlestar. During the battle, the starboard flight pod is also crippled as part of the attack plan. In the final move, Caraphase jumps Galactica to a new set of coordinates. The FTL jump is Galactica's last, as her hull breaks in the spine with multiple structural failures causing her FTL ability to fail. However, Galactica has arrived in the vicinity of the habitable world, which allows her humanity, and Cylon, to settle a new world and begin afresh. The final fate of a once great Battlestar is that she is flown into the sun, along with a civilian fleet. Admiral Adama is the last to leave the ship. Whilst the most famous Jupiter-class Battlestar was known as the Battlestar Galactica, we also know of other ships in the class line. The Battlestar Athena was either decommissioned or destroyed. The Battlestar Columbia was destroyed during Operation Raptor Talon. The Battlestar Demeter was also destroyed or decommissioned. Prometheus was again destroyed or decommissioned. 3 unknown Jupiter-class were destroyed over Scorpia during the fall of the 12 colonies. 1 unknown Jupiter-class was destroyed over Caprica during the fall. Finally, 1 unknown was destroyed taking part in the Ghost Fleet during the First Cylon War. Eric Chu designed the exterior of the Jupiter-class Battlestar Galactica. Chu also designed the exterior of the modern Cylon Raiders and Cylon Base Stars, along with the new design of the Cylon Centurions. The book called Battlestar Galactica: Designing Starships gave us a look at some early concept work of the Galactica design. Original concept sketches from Eric Chu show a trial and error process of trying to create the look of a new modern Galactica. It's interesting to note that the design of the Jupiter class kept the same distinctive curved yet angular bow of the ship. This is the biggest element that will tie the modern Galactica to the original one from 1978. When designing the new Galactica for the reimagined series, Chu faced the difficult challenge of pleasing the devoted fanbase of the original series. The goal was to keep some of the ships in keeping with the original designs, but at the same time, they would need to be original and bring something new to a modern program. Eric Chu would draw inspiration from an industrial design book. This included ribbed metal vases by Andrea Branzi. As such, the design inspiration can be seen in many of the designs and the final version of the Battlestar Galactica that appeared in the reimagined series. With the reintroduction of a modern Battlestar Galactica in the reimagined series, there was no official class designation. As such, ships like Galactica were typically referred to as a Galactica-type Battlestar. However, with the release of The Science of Battlestar Galactica, the class name was revealed as a Jupiter-class Battlestar design. One of the best things about Battlestar is the continuity of damage between major engagements. Unlike, say, Star Trek Voyager, where after a massive battle the ship would be like new the following week, the HG ran with the damage sustained. One of the prime examples of this is following the Battle of New Caprica. You can visually see the Galactica is heavily damaged with burn marks on her armour. One main gun is also missing. Look at these renders on screen and you'll see what I mean. So, that's a complete breakdown of a Jupiter-class Battlestar Galactica. I leave you with this question again. What would you call your Battlestar? If you're interested in more Battlestar videos, check out our complete breakdown of the Battlestar Pegasus on the end screen. That's the end of this video. I've been Captain Jack in the Hangar Bay. Remember, if you're talking about science fiction, we want to hear about it.